Hello and welcome to Transformative Life Services Expert Talk Series. Transformative Life Services is a group of professionals in the mental health sector, life coaches, transformation coaches, counselors, therapists, and psychologists who have come together to create a space where people gain awareness about mental health practices, mental health professionals, mental health techniques for holistic well being and living life as per their nature to its fullest potential. The vision of TLS is to reach out to people not just across the country but all over the globe and provide them access to both knowledge about mental health as well as access to professionals who can help address their need of mental health and holistic well being. As part of the initiative, TLS has launched Expert Talk, and today's episode, the first episode, is focusing on the topic of liberating ourselves from our own self limiting beliefs. The panel comprises of Partika Sharma, Jyoti Bakshani, Vani Janaki Simhadri, and is moderated by Sunanda Keshav Das. We have our special guest with us today, Suruchi Rena from Mumbai, who is a psychologist and a counselor for children and adults, specializing in the space of providing them with connection to themselves in order to live their lives to their fullest potential. So let's head over to the first episode. Hmm. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the very first episode of TLS Expert Talk. Today, we have with us Jyoti Bakshani, Bartika Sharma, and Suruchi Rena, who will bring their insights into a topic, a critical topic, I think, called liberating from the self limiting beliefs. All of us tend to have certain ideas about ourselves. This is what I can do, this is what I cannot do, this is what I will not do. Today's expert panel will help us to discover why we build these beliefs about ourselves, how we can overcome them, and how to apply methods that are suitable for us uniquely in order to achieve this limitless nature that we are all born with. I will now introduce the panel. First, we have Dr. Jyoti Bakshani, who is a multimodal therapist and counselor who works in the areas of psychotherapy, Reiki, Moksha Pattam, and many other systems, including fingerprint interpretation and analysis. Also, we have with us, joining us from Madhya Pradesh, we have Vartika Sharma, who is a life coach and fingerprint interpreter. She works almost exclusively with women in order to empower them and reconnect them to their original selves. And joining us from also from Mumbai is Suruchi Rena, who is a counselor and psychologist who specializes in working both with children and adults. She is also a fingerprint interpreter and analyst. So, welcome to all of you. And before we begin the first episode of TLS Expert Talk, I would just remind all of you that I will be moderating the session. I am Sunanda, and I am a counselor, therapist, fingerprint analyst, and a multimodal healer as well. So, how this panel will flow is I will start off with a question to introduce the perspectives of the expert panel, and I will be guiding the panel through the different sections of the talk today. And once we have some sort of understanding about the topic, we will try to bring it to a conclusion for the audience. So we'll start with Dr. Jyoti Bakshani. Dr. Jyoti, please provide us with your perspective on the self-limiting beliefs and what we can do about that.
Karma is joining. Okay. So when we talk about liberation, for me is my understanding of liberation is like wherever you have got stuck, means releasing that energy where you have got stuck. So you're getting liberated through that energy, and it can be in various forms. So it can be like It could be in relationship, it could be in emotions, it could be in work area, in any area of your life. So, and like, liberation in Hindi, as we call as moksha also. So it can be like of life and death also. So anything, like, when it comes to disease or your health or your studies or your relationships, everything. If I would like to add more, it's like, I always feel you get, 4 steps of liberation. You get 4 times the opportunity to get liberated from your stuck problems.
All right. What would be the 4?
So like, one is like at an energy level wherever aura gets first affected, your energy gets first affected. If you realize at that stage, you get a chance to, get rid of it. If not, then it affects your psychological area. So that is your second area. Then third come is physiological area, because if it's not covered in that area, then it comes to this area. After physiological, then it affects your physical area. So that is where your medical conditions and everything come up. So you have 4 steps. You have been given an opportunity to liberate yourself. And of course, after body is Atma going out.
All right.
So that's how I, connect to liberating.
Thank you so much. Vartika ji, we'd like your perspective on limiting self-belief and liberation from it.
Hello everyone, I'm Vartika Sharma, a life print coach, mindfulness practitioner, and helping people to break free from self-doubt and reconnect with their inner strengths. So here I would like to say that for me, limiting beliefs are basically mental rules that I am not good enough or I cannot change. That is a bias in their attention, the way they interpret, and the way they behave. So here the tool which I use is mindfulness, and how it helps, it basically reduces the negative self-representation. It increases the present moment noticing and improving self-regulation with other like weaken or automatic power of limiting beliefs. And how I connect it with innate, it's like there is a principle, self-determination theory in psychology, where there are certain innate needs or desires of every human being. We can say like motivation, satisfaction, and growth. So these 3 needs basically they are connected to your autonomy. That means when you can take decision on your own, you work with your own principle, it gives you immense satisfaction and independence. तो जैसे किसी को कोई काम अगर कोई करता है तो वो सिर्फ इसलिए ना करे कि उससे दूसरे को खुशी होगी. That person should feel that happiness by doing that work. That is one thing. And then second is competence. Everybody wants to feel that whatever that person is doing is very expert in doing that. बहुत कुशल है, skilled है. So when we think that okay, by doing this specifically particular job, it is giving me some kind of confidence and it is giving me some kind of prerana, you can say. मतलब so again the limiting beliefs, they diminish and the progress happens. And relatedness is connectivity, संबद्धता जिसको हम बोलते हैं. So connectivity with other people, how we are connected to each other. So when we feel that okay, people are accepting us the way we are, they are actually they are concerned about us, so it gives us true happiness. We need not to hide, we need not to mask. So if these three needs are fulfilled, then naturally people grow. So and they reach their full potential. But if they are not complete, if these not satisfied, then these limiting beliefs, this dissatisfaction, this low motivation, it is there in everybody. So mindfulness and value-based practices, they help to connect with all these 3 inner growth tendencies.
Thank you, Vartika. We will come back to you to get more details about how to do the practices and how to go forward individually. We'll come now to Suruchi Rena and get her perspective on self-limiting beliefs and liberation from it. Suruchi, please.
Hi everyone, I'm Suruchi Rena. I'm a psychologist and a counselor, fingerprint analyst. I would like to give an analogy of mirror, because when we say self, obviously we can't see self too nicely with our own eyes because the eyes are looking outwards. So to see ourselves, we need a mirror, right? So most of the time we look for the mirror which is outside. Now, sometimes the mirror is not clean. Sometimes the mirror can be concave. Sometimes the mirror can be convex. So what you see, the image that you see in that mirror is a distorted one. So if this is what I believe, that when a person is trying to understand himself, we normally tend to go through these mirrors. And these mirrors in real life is the environment, the people around us, and the value system that we have picked up. So, in order to know yourself better, we need to have a system where we break the concepts that have been created because of these not so faulty, I would say, but the factors which have limited our idea of our own self. Because somewhere when we are born, we are just unaware. We are full of potential. We are unmolded clay. But these factors around us, they mold us. And then we start believing that, yeah, this is what we are. And we build our own value system, depending on where we are living, the society, the family value system, everything. So if we have to break free of these, we need to become a little unbiased towards them. Then we can definitely, what Jyoti ji said, what Bartika said, that you can grow and bloom. Not that everybody is not blooming. People are blooming. Everybody is blooming. Why would I think that I'm not blooming? This is the first limitation, I would say. People don't accept this, that yes, there is a grow further. So I would just wrap up with this, that yes, there are multiple ways. There are what Jyoti ji said, the 4 body levels. Yes, if we work on those, we can further blossom. And what Vartika ji said, that mindfulness, yes. And there are other techniques as well, which slowly, gradually, we would like to, bring forth in these discussions.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Suruchi. Joining us also is Vani ji. Vani ji is from Hyderabad, and she is a life coach and mentor to many people about connecting them to their original selves through her own unique methods. So now we'll find out what is her perspective about limiting beliefs in people and what is liberation in terms of those limiting beliefs. Vani ji, please take center stage.
Hello, everyone. I am Vani Janaki Simadri from Hyderabad. I'm a transformational coach and an emotional well-being coach. So actually, when we start on our self-inquiry journey or the journey towards our own development, what we normally see, what a lot of people have faced is they face a lot of obstructions to their journey. Though it is supposed to be the happiest journey, but it is definitely with a lot of struggles and obstructions. So, and we think that, outside people, outside situations are all causing these problems to us. But like what Suruchi said, outside people are a mirror of our own self. And since you're talking about liberation, this is a very crucial concept to understand, that every person who's creating a problem for us is actually showing our own weaknesses in our own self, but which we don't realize, and we only start blaming them that, this person is doing this situation has happened, and that's the reason we are having problems. But it is so difficult to understand, maybe not in the same area of life. Say somebody is showing a particular problem in their career. That particular problem might not be there in a career life for us, but it might be there in maybe a family, or it could be on money management. But there is definitely somewhere within us which we need to release this. So that is, and we are not aware about this. The problem is we are running these programs unconsciously, which we have acquired from our childhood, and it could be sometime from our previous lives too. So it's very important for us to understand, and how do we understand is the biggest thing, right? So the basis of all these things comes from our thoughts and feelings. And that is what I talk about in my transformational coaching, about how to regulate your thoughts, how to regulate your feelings for a better thing, and how to understand. Like every emotion is teaching us something. If you're getting anger, if somebody's creating anger within us, what is this anger actually asking us to learn from the situation? So liberation is all about understanding our life lessons. So every person who's coming into our life, every situation which is coming into our life, he's teaching us a lesson, and which we are not aware that there is a lesson to be. So that's what I teach in emotions. What is the lesson that each emotion is helping us understand and then come out of that situations?
Thank you so much, Maniji. We will continue in the discussion. As we continue, we would definitely like to hear the specific methodology and the impact it has had on your clients as well as yourself.
Lessons that each emotion is helping us understand and then come out of that situations.
Thank you so much, Maniji. We will continue in the discussion. As we continue, we would definitely like to hear the specific methodology and the impact it has had on your clients as well as yourself. We will now move to karma. Jyoti, just pause the recording for a minute. So it was so wonderful to hear these very different perspectives from all of you, from all your different backgrounds. But the common thread was also so good that definitely it is within each of us to be able to break free from our own thought process, own bondages. And I think we have actually shown what TLS actually stands for, how we want to bring transformation to people's lives as much as possible all over the country, all over the world, through different methodologies that are suited for the individual. We are never saying ki this is the only thing to do. And it is so wonderful to hear all that from you. In this section of the expert talk, we are going to get into the details of your various backgrounds and different therapies and different methodology that you follow, which you may have followed yourself and which you're giving to your clients. So we'll start with Dr. Jyoti again. Dr. Jyoti, what are the specific methodologies you have been applying or which have worked for you and your clients? So if you could throw some light on that.
Of course, I would say that all modalities, do help in this, because I have learned from process to process. So when I didn't know the other modalities, which I know now. So that also I used to use to, for this healing purpose. But then as I moved on around, what I feel the best I felt is like, Mokshpatam and fingerprint analysis. These two really work like wonders, because half the thing you are already got into the plate. And then it becomes very easier to, confront and talk and communicate and get people out of their issues and problems, or whatever the limiting beliefs which we talk about. So it becomes very easier to handle the show. And it's a faster process, I would say.
Could you give us a little bit more insight into Mokshpatam? Because I think many of our people watching are hearing it for the first time. So could you please give us how it is, how does it work, and where does it actually break any of the unproductive belief systems we may have?
I wouldn't go much deep into it, but I'll just give you an overview of it. Like Mokshpatam is like how we have a game board of snakes and ladders, which everyone knows. So in India, we call it as Gyan Chopper. So this is the word which many people have heard about when they study about Mahabharata, Ramayana, all these things. When that is the time when you hear about this word. So it's like that only. Of course, it has been processed and redefined into only 72 boxes now. Previously, were many boxes. But as per now, our Kali Yuga, it's been given to 72 boxes. So each box, each layer of your life, it talks about each layer of your life, and each box shows about there are greed, there is illusions, there are many different positive intellect, negative intellect, knowledge, awareness, charity. These type of all boxes are there. So each person goes through all these different boxes and which areas he is able to go and what are the challenges and they face during. So are they having the same struggles coming in repeating it, or they are able to, what is that which have be able to lift them up in their life? So we come to know the whole soul journey about it. And
Fine.
there we understand okay, where they are getting stuck and how they can work about it and work on those challenges and improve. So there we give them remedies according to which box they get stuck into again and again, or which are the areas which have helped them to lift. So these are the things which you can do it. So this is how Moksha Patham works.
Great. So we will come in the next section. We will definitely talk about the challenges and you faced with clients, because breaking beliefs we know is not an easy task. Now we go to Vartika to ask her what are the methodologies she applies and has applied for herself as well.
According to me, as I said, for mindfulness, I use technique neuroplasticity.
Okay.
And neuroplasticity means your brain, it has the capacity to change if you trained it specifically according to your circumstances. So when we focus on one thing continuously, so accordingly our neural pathway creates. And when we practice the same thing repeatedly, it becomes stronger and it becomes a habit. Okay, so to understand neuroplasticity, I have to give you understanding about the brain, because what is brain and what are the layers of brain. So just take an example of my hand. The lower part of my hand, it is your reptilian brain.
Okay.
So what is the use, why we call it reptilian brain? Because it is very basic. It is connected to our peripheral nervous system, and fight, flight, freeze. These are the basic things, and it works basically on survival mode. So this is our unconscious brain. Okay, then comes the limbic brain. We call it mammal brain also. Here basically emotions and feelings, they takes place. Okay, this is our subconscious mind. Okay, and then comes the neocortex. Okay, which is the gift to human being. And from here we use our logic, and this is our conscious brain. So we, most of the time when during the day we are working, we use our conscious brain. But our limiting beliefs, they are deep down, they are deep rooted, either in our unconscious mind or in our subconscious mind. And neurons are the cell which are there in brain, and they are connected to each other to create neural pathway. So when a thought appears in our brain only for the first time, it doesn't create much of an effect. But when we think the same thing again and again, this is just one connection between there is one synopsis, then another, and it becomes like a strong rope, and it becomes the habit. So similarly, limiting beliefs, they become a habit, and you don't even realize it when you are trying to change them, that how deep rooted it is. So with the help of fingerprint, when we understand the personality innate of a person, we actually come to know from where this limiting belief is coming. Whether it is environmental or it is deep rooted, it is coming from their print itself, and then we try to work on it. And with regular practice and mindfulness, definitely these neurons, they have capacity. If we are not using that thought again and again, these connection will become weaker and they will dissolve over the period of time. So replacing with a better thought, better improvised thought is the basic concept of neuroplasticity.
Thank you. In the next segment, we will definitely look at how when inputs keep coming from the environment, whether the person can handle it or not, and why it becomes a challenge. We will discuss that with you. Now we go to Suruchi to find out how she has applied it in her clients, what are the methods, and how it has affected her as well, if she is comfortable to share that aspect.
Sure, why not? Uh, See, I use mostly psychological principles and the fingerprints. Because when we talk of psychology, it is all about your brain, your emotions, and your thought processes that you have built over a period of time. And fingerprints, they give you a proof right in front of you, which amazes the client. Because in psychology, we need to discuss, we need to spend some hours with the client to know them. But in case of fingerprints, we just have to take their fingerprints, and the moment we give them the proof that these are the reasons you think this way, because your fingers have this kind of pattern, they immediately absorb the thought. And with this, I have handled the cases, and I consider it as a big boon, I would say, because these fingerprints, they give you not just the proof, but the client himself or herself, they become really open to listen to you, because the secrets of their inner thought, which is not known to others, get evident the moment we see the prints. So that's how I mostly connect with my clients, through the fingerprints.
Great. Thank you so much. We will definitely explore that aspect a bit more in the next segment. For now, we come to Vaniji, who is expert in dealing with the emotional side of human beings. So please give us your insight.
So in continuation with what Bartika has already mentioned, there are neural pathways formed already, and this is so strong that it is very difficult to break them. But we definitely need to make a new neural pathways. That is what Bartika was mentioning, that our brain has the capacity, I forgot the word.
Plasticity.
Neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity actually means that our brain has the capability to change the path, and then it can add new beliefs. So what actually happens is, in our childhood, we form all these beliefs unknowingly. Say if a teacher has scolded a child that you are not good at maths, you're not able to do even a small simple problem, it becomes embedded in them. What we see sometimes when we do the fingerprints analysis, they're very good at logic. But this belief that has formed in their childhood, that I'm not good at maths, has become so strong that they are not exploring that area. So during when we do counseling to children and we tell them that, this is an area which actually is your strength. If did you have any issues in your childhood, somebody scolded you, and they say, yes, my teacher said something like this, and then I stopped doing maths, I stopped taking interest in maths. So it's clearly these beliefs which are formed in our childhood without our conscious awareness is actually the problem for all our problems. So, and the root, how do we find out these beliefs is through our thoughts and our emotions. Say, for example, if the child is feeling I am not enough, this is a thought which has come, like again, same like Bartika has mentioned, we'll have to reprogram the mind with the positive thought of I am enough. But verbally saying them 100 times will not make them accept it. So we need to go back to that childhood belief and analyze what was the emotion. So every event that has happened in our life is stored as an event and a memory. An emotion and a memory. So there is a memory in our brain. Along with it, there is an emotion attached with that. So once we identify that emotion and then we are able to work on it. So this was the emotion that we've created and this is how it is happening. But sometimes we may not be able to do it. So there are two methodologies that we use. One is EFT, which is called Emotional Freedom Technique. We do some tapping in certain parts of our body, and then when we are just going back to some incidents, maybe it is this superficial one, what is happening right now, and we start with that over a period of time. When we start doing tapping, maybe today, tomorrow, a week or so, but we'll definitely get back to that old event, and then it comes out. So what actually happens is, when an emotion happens in our body, it gets stuck in some part of our body. And because it has got stuck, say for example, when you have faced some happy events, you enjoy that, explore it, and then you let it go. But when we have some negative emotions, we do not want to experience that emotion, we stop ourselves. And then that gets stuck in our body. Again, the basis again goes back to the caveman when he was struggling for food and all those things. So he was ready to for that fight flight mechanism so that he can immediately take action. But nowadays, because of this emotional, there is no real threat, physical threat in the outside world. But these small emotional threats are becoming the bigger ones. And that is the reason for us to get this emotion stuck in our body. We do not want to experience it and it gets stuck. Unless that is released, we are not able to move ahead in our life. So EFT actually helps us to remove these blocks of energy which has got stuck using that technique.
We will definitely come to understand a bit further with a specific case study from your end. Right now, in the next segment that we're moving on to, we are going to now look at how knowing the innate of the individual has helped each of the methodologies to effectively give solutions to the clients. So, Jyoti, how has it worked for you? In any of the methodologies you're using, including Reiki and many others that you use, how has the knowing the innate of the individual, how has it been helping you?
Of course, I think we all agree that fingerprint analysis is a very boon tool to all of us. And because that gives you the whole idea about the person. So it becomes very easy, like, karke what type of person is this, whether the environment will get affected or it has, the person has to go towards inward side. Will it able to visualize proper or not? Or does it require more of kinesthetic activities to be done? So what is it, how the person is? So when you know about it, it becomes very easier to use specific healing modalities. Then you don't have to get. Otherwise, like, if you say the person, sometimes when you do make them do visualization technique, and the person might not be able to visualize also. मुझे कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ा, they would say. So that's why when you know what the person is, what type the person is, so you accordingly use that modality so that the person gets benefit from it. So for some patient, we accordingly use, like, some cases we'll use visualizing techniques, we'll use make them go into meditation and feel, see all that. For some, it will be really just not giving them any visual, but making them do activity immediately. Put them into some activity zone. You do this, you have to do this, go for walking or join a dance class or do this or go and, like, for some, we'll, like, every day ensure that, you're talking to your friend or doing some, like, those type of activities. So it becomes very easier to know karke what type of activity has to be done and what healing modality also has to be used. So it makes things very faster then.
Great. Thank you so much for that. Kartika, I wanted to ask you, like, when you mentioned about mindfulness as a technique to develop this or make use of neuroplasticity, but mindfulness requires us to become more and more conscious of every moment that what we are doing, becoming more and more conscious. Were there any real, like, big challenges with certain type of innate when you try to apply this mindfulness to them? Can you walk us through that experience? You're on mute. You need to unmute.
Yes, there are certain prints, you can say, or personalities, you can say, where it is not very easy. I mean, like, if we go into details of their ridge pattern or their fingerprint pattern, then we can very easily understand, okay, this person is full of thoughts. It is very difficult for this person to be in present. Either they will be in future or they'll be dwelling in past. Okay, so the process takes time, but it is not impossible.
So how
Like
do you,
yeah.
sorry to interrupt. Could you tell what intervention would you do before then starting mindfulness?
See, first of all, I bring clarity to them. Like during the interpretation itself, I tell them very clearly, see, this is the challenge, but if you really want to overcome, I want your 100%. You have to do what I want. Once you commit that, okay, this much time, like minimum 21 days I ask for. If you are ready to give me 21 days at least, then only you will start seeing some changes. It will not happen immediately. This is the process. We take 21 days to dissolve old patterns and build new
Mm.
connections.
Mm.
Okay, so with that commitment only I start. If there are certain difficult patterns, then
Mm. Okay.
otherwise with loop generally it is very easy. With loop
Okay.
pattern, arc pattern, it is quite easy.
All
But
right.
with whirls
Mm.
and reverse patterns, because they challenge your
Huh.
patience also.
Mm.
So it is very important to take commitment from them.
Okay. All right.
So
From the previous segment, the question I had was what like, because the environment is very difficult and the person still has to continue in the same environment. It could be a child who cannot leave the house, or a person cannot leave the marriage, or you can't leave the workplace. Realistically, we cannot get jobs so easily. So how do you then use this mindfulness technique to change that difficult belief that they have now created about themselves because of the environment?
exactly. Then there is a diffusion technique. The name is diffusion. What happens when a person is not able to change their environment? Then I'll give you the example. We try to use that thought in a playful manner.
Okay.
Take a belief
Mm.
and use it and say it in a funny manner, or like associate it with some cartoon character or their voices.
Okay.
Okay, so it could be either prefix or suffix, like I am having I am having a thought that.
Mm.
This is the prefix. I am having a thought that.
Mm.
Now you have to change it. Like, okay, I lose some of its seriousness. Matlab how, like, I am having a thought that I am going to fail. I am having a thought that my marriage is not going to work.
Mm.
So just make it a fun thing
Mm.
and just let it be.
Mm.
Don't make it serious,
Actually.
because you are giving emotion. That serious emotion, if you give a funny emotion, it will not impact you. Just like Vaniji said, that every thought is connected to some emotion and feeling. So if you'll replace that thought with some funny emotion,
Mm. Mm.
it will not hurt you the way it was hurting you earlier.
No. Okay.
And slowly you can change it.
Okay. Great. Wonderful to know. I don't think many of us know about this technique at all, because when people hear about the word therapy and counseling, बहुत serious हो जाते हैं. मतलब it is still today, it is big stigma in our society कि आप एक साइकोलॉजिस्ट से बात करने जा रहे हो या एक लाइफ कोच से बात करने जा रहे हो. एंड रेकी वगैरह तो लोगों को लगता है कि काला जादू चल रहा है. So, so it is so wonderful to get to know something new. Even I did not know about this technique. So great to know this technique.
Logical mind को चाहिए. They need results. They
हाँ.
need visible thing, like, show me.
Sure.
Like,
Great.
that's what fingerprints, and like I use energy scanning also, where I show them, this is your energy level of your organ. So that is why then, like, and then after the healing, do the after also and show them this is the difference. And fingerprints also, I show them, see, this is your print and what is it talking about. So then they are able to grasp things.
Great.
So it becomes easier then to explain them and make them understand. So these are the some things which, as a healers and counselor, have to add in.
Because even the psychology community does not recognize healers as part of their community. आज भी अगर आप बात करोगे तो इसको एसोटेरिक बोलते हैं या exotic बोलते हैं. They don't want to think of all these available systems, like even mandala, like which I do. People assume immediately, because they connect it to tantra, which they will connect it to their own thought process about tantra, and then they'll be like, nahi, this is terrible thing to do.
It's been used. See, in psychology also they are using. We use drawings, we use color therapy, and all these things in psychology. It has been used. Only thing is, like, the words varies actually, and which is like, as a second, the words are getting stuck, and that is what of limiting beliefs.
Yes.
People are getting stuck with words, and that they don't understand it. Okay, ये ऐसा है, ये वैसा है, and this is what all that is the reason we have got this topic to talk about.
Yeah, not just limiting belief about self, but limiting belief about coming and asking for help. I need help to go forward in life. So, Suruchi, how do fingerprints help in actually making people, realize I need to get some help in order to move forward in life. I cannot keep doing this anymore.
Okay. See, I'll start with my experience,
Ah,
because most of the time the clients that I have handled, they do not come up with the idea that I need help, because for them they are perfect. This is how they are, and they have a very strong belief that every person is a unique person, and the picture of their own self which they have created in their mind is the true reflection. So they are not coming and coming forth always with their I'm stuck, because they don't even are aware that they are stuck. They are so habitual to their patterns, they become so used to, no, this is what we are. So when they come to me, they come as I would say with curiosity, because fingerprints, first they have to ask, is it palmistry? Then you have to refuse, no, it's not palmistry. We don't even touch the rest of the hand. It's just the tip of your fingers. And once they have this session with me, the fingerprints, and when I say that this pattern is talking like this finger is talking like this, and their whole personality, it comes out. Some of them, yes, they get into the denial, because they are not ready to accept that my inner self is getting out. But you can read as a psychologist, I can read from their body language, I can read from their eyes that they are not ready to even accept. But with Vartika ji said that diffusion, I do not take any such diffusion, but yes, even to make yourself clear that these fingerprints are telling something like this about your personality, they have, it takes time. It takes pretty long time, and they get convinced by the end of the session. They get really convinced that the fingerprints are telling the truth, because somewhere the incidents which they go and connect to the past, immediately they get connected to their fingerprints. So the fingerprints are actually a guiding proof. And when we talk about the thinking patterns and the behavioral pattern, they then tend to accept that there are certain flaws. And those flaws, then they would like to work on. And this to convince them that yes, everybody needs a helper. बिना टीचर के तो एबीसीडी भी कोई नहीं पढ़ सकता बच्चे, तो वो एबीसीडी पहले पढ़ाना पड़ता है, और वो एबीसीडी जब उन लोगों को पता चल जाता है, and then they definitely become open to change themselves. So through my sessions, yes, I motivate them because they are their own builders. I believe in that. I can just support them in building their own self. Once again.
Yeah. So continuing from that, Vaniji, how do you find that correlation? Like some of the emotional equations that we make with certain events are very deep. So how difficult, or what is the biggest challenge you've had when dealing with replacing the emotional aspect of that event? As you said, memory we may not be able to replace, but what is the biggest challenge about replacing emotions? You need to unmute yourself.
Very true. We cannot change the memory, nor do we want to change the memory. But like I said, if there is a fear which has been created in the childhood, we will have to explain to them what is the psychology of fear, why this fear, how this fear is going to help them, what is the purpose of fear, and then make them move forward. But the challenge actually happens here is, even if I ask them to do EFT, nobody is willing to do EFT because their own thought patterns, like our fingerprint patterns, what we talk about. If he's a person having a old pattern, he wants to go by his own self. तो उनको हम लोग पहले EFT समझाने से पहले we have to give them some links about fear, what is happening, what is an emotion, how is it helping us. When he is ready to take up, because he's clear, okay, उनके अपनी सोच से ये समझ लिया what is this, we might explain to them, but they're not ready to take it up unless they explore it themselves. So that is how our fingerprints help us when we see the patterns. Okay, he's dominantly an old person. So world has to. Uh, I'm a process person. If I tell him this is the process and go through this process, they will not understand. They need to have their own. What is the outcome after we do this? What will happen? How will we come to a solution? Or if it is a loop, they're influenced by their environment. So I'll have to give them case studies about, okay, this person had done this, he got a benefit like this. So this is how it can help you also. So these sort of a explanation depending on their personality. Though the technique is same, the way we approach to them depending on their personality helps us to connect better. Once they're able to relate what I'm saying based on their personalities, they're able to take up the therapy faster.
Great.
I
So,
would here like to, tell everyone, the audience, that the fingerprint is so flexible. It is a customized tool. We are not there enforcing any fixed technique for all of the clients. It's very customized to that particular person.
That's
So that gives a very good advantage over, I would say, many of the other techniques in
assessment.
case of the fingerprints. Yes, in case of the
So fingerprints provide us a very unique view because the individual, all of us intellectually know that sabhi alag hai, sabki alag journey hai, but this sort of gives us a visual proof of that.
Yes.
That we all have unique journeys, and therapists are definitely able to, as you said, tailor make the solutions for the people. As Vani also mentioned that, it has helped her to change the way she presents her therapy to people. And it has definitely helped Jyoti, Parthika, all of us. We've all seen that difference come into the people the minute we say, "Ki, this is how you are." Yes, there is denial. We all have had clients who deny it because that old belief will take time to go. It doesn't go. So I have a common question for everybody here. Do you think beliefs are completely replaced, or it is just that we accept मैं वैसा था and now I have to become my actual self? What do you think happens? Yes, Vani.
So beliefs are actually formed in our childhood and we have not validated them. So as an adult, we'll have to actually check if this belief is working for us at this present time. Say, for example, my mother is coming from a village. When my father expired, she wanted to keep herself shut in that room because that's the custom in the village. But in the current day situation, being in Hyderabad in a city, you don't have to do that. Nobody's even looking at whether where you're staying. Are you coming out, sitting in? Nobody's wondering, right? So we'll have to understand, is this particular, and those days, maybe there was somebody at home to take care of you. Here, maybe you're not having anybody. You might be staying all alone. There are some people who are actually doing jobs, and then immediately I've seen people after 11th day, 12th day, they're just going into the office. So it is not going, it's not that the belief is true. If the belief is true, then you can keep that belief and then go ahead. So that is when beliefs become values.
Okay.
When you validate the belief and see if it is working today for me at this point of time, you validate it and then becomes a value. So that's how you will have to verify if it is working or not working.
So you want to say that it's not about completely removing or replacing. It's about just seeing whether it works for me in my life. If it doesn't, we don't have to refer to it. If it does, we can make it our value system. Great. Right. Thank you. So Bartika, your perspective on this, do we completely discard beliefs? Is it like going away somewhere, or is it like we are not referring to it anymore?
I think I would say we replace it.
Okay.
It is there. And actually, neuroplasticity, it creates a new reality for you. But that doesn't mean you were not your previous self. You were that person also who was having those limiting beliefs. And this is how you have evolved as a new being, new person. And the consciousness says that you need not to go back to that person again. That is the actual shift which we are looking for through our counselings and the way we want to guide them to live a life. This is what is my understanding, and the belief system, according to me, need not necessarily starts after you come out in this world. It is shaped even in womb.
Yes.
Your mother's psychological condition, the environment she is there, that deep-rooted unconscious mind mein the thoughts they are going, the energy that is going there, from there this belief system develops. So to address that is also very important. Once you are out, and if that is creating limitations in your growth, so it is very important to work that deeply. And for a person also, it is very important that they should realize it is not that in this journey, even in previous journey, they had certain karmas which are very deep rooted, and they have to work on that to get evolved. And like the level of consciousness they have to work.
Right. So to summarize your perspective, it is that we are not going to ever, it's not like we acknowledge that that person also existed. And this is the person who evolved to it. So it can be an inspiration for the person themselves. So,
Yeah, you can always look back, okay, I
Yeah.
was that also, see what I am today now.
Today, yeah.
Like that is what we are also doing, I think. Like
yes,
we have evolved,
Yes,
but that doesn't mean we were not that person.
that person. So,
Basically, you are understanding the challenges, what you're feeling, you're getting with this belief system. So when you're understanding these challenges, so how this belief system can be worked upon and make it better, or does it need to, how you can modify and work? It's not that sometimes you can keep that belief system also, use it in a nicer and a better way, or sometimes you really need to, work upon it, as he told you, that is also there.
Exactly. It's like just an observer. You can look at that belief as an observer. You need not to participate in that activity.
Jyoti,
I
because
would
you're
like to-
also Suruj, I would just like to complete the question to Jyoti, because Jyoti also works as a past life regression therapist. So when we talk about, like Parthika also mentioned, many of them come into our karmic womb, like when we are formed in the womb. So when you work with a client at this point in time, so this belief might have come from a previous lifetime itself. So when you do this past life regression, what is that mechanism of changing the belief or replacing the belief? क्या होता है वहाँ for that life?
Okay, so that way, I work on astrology also, understanding pending karmas, what you have, come up with. So what is that cycle which has been repeating from families to families? It has coming up. So same psychology comes in, same life patterns, same situations also come up. So we we guide them according to giving them remedies how they can break those patterns. So some remedies are being given for that, for them to do it.
So again, we know that happened. We know कि वो है. So we just accept that that was there. We don't have to repeat those again.
Repeat.
So it is basically the same neuroplasticity which we talk about. Create new neural patterns.
Yeah.
So the old ones will die out.
You can say this because it's like the DNA modification slowly happens, and then you have
a new value system comes.
Yeah.
Yes, Suruchi, you can please continue, and you can add your own perspective to the
No,
modern.
there's no perspective. It's just that I was remembering the shape, the neural path, and the synapses that Bhartika was talking about. We do not replace the old beliefs. The old beliefs remain there, but yes, they go into the background.
Exactly.
Okay. So if these were the synapses that were got created earlier in your neural paths, with our counseling sessions and remedies and providing a different perspective, a different set of synapses are created in our own brain. The nerves are always growing. The new nerves are always getting created. So new synapses get built. So the old ones are always there. At the most, what will happen is they can,
shrink.
Yes, they remain there, but they become an obsolete organ. For example, a vestigial organ like our appendix. Right? So they do not then become a hindrance any longer. Though they are part of you. They are very much within your brain. You can't rub them off completely. But yes, you can build new connections. And what happens is those new connections give you a different perspective. So I'll go back to my earlier example of that mirror. You were seeing yourself in a convex mirror. Now, after all these remedies and all these sessions, you now see yourself in a straight mirror, a plain mirror. So obviously, you will see a different self. You cannot deny that, yes, you were seeing a crooked body or curved body of, or in the earlier mirror. So
Okay.
that's
So
how I would like to conclude.
Yes. So I would here, what is it called? Condense everything into. I think it's all right to condense. Yes, Vani. Sorry.
Yeah. So I would like to add one thing. So when you're talking about past life karmas, when there are patterns happening again and again, there is a lesson that we have to learn. So these patterns are telling us what is, it could be emotional, it could be our thought, it could be our belief, but there is a lesson that we have to learn. Until that lesson is learned, these patterns appear again and again in our life. So, and if we go back to more spirituality, everything is love. So I was listening to Rhonda Byrne's power thing. There she says any problem that we are facing is like a dot in a circle. The full thing is love, but our problem is like a dot. And when we are actually able to think about the huge love, our problem is nothing. But at the same time, we have to merge with that love. So, in this context, what I normally use is this Ho'oponopono. There are only just 4 statements. I'm saying sorry for whatever I have done with, consciously or unconsciously. Please forgive me for whatever I have done. I thank you for giving me this opportunity. You can say prarabdha karma, that this karma has come up for me to clear it. And then I love you. So this love you is again a statement where we are saying we are becoming the whole. Even in EFT, that is what we say, self-love. Even though I'm facing this problem, I deeply and completely accept and love myself. So the ultimate thing for me, what I've understood is first thing is learn the lesson and accept that we are part of a bigger love. And the small problem or the small me is easy to merge with that love, and then these problems will be resolved. That's a different perspective.
Yes, wonderful to have so
I
many
would like to
different
add one
perspectives.
example, which is very simple. It happens in everyone's day life, like how beliefs get, like everyone has like gifting someone something to someone, like that is everyone does gifting. So I'll just share one incident, like there is a lady who had a lot of a struggle with her friend, one of her friend, and that created like lot of stress in her because of that friend, because she couldn't understand why is this friction happening, but she wanted to remain connected to her, but she was getting affected also very badly. And the simple thing was, the belief system was of hers is like, that is what she has learned from a childhood, like when you're from a dad and she has followed that, seeing in a family it's happening. Okay, whenever you go to anyone's house, you should not go empty hand, you should have to take a gift and go. Okay, so she had a habit of taking a gift. Every time she would go, she would take something. Okay, but that belief system was not there in her friends. Okay, and then here she is like, whenever she's going to a friend, like, you are a person who keeps wasting money. You don't understand, you don't know how to take care of money, you're always wasting, you bring something or the other. She was genuinely like, she's my friend, so I should tell her, don't waste your money. I'm telling you as a genuine friend, don't waste your money. You're still so much insisting to, like, give something to me. Then you ask me what I want, I will tell you what I want, then you bring me that.
Okay.
Then she's telling me gifting is something which you give it from your heart. Why should I give her what she wants it? What I want to give it? And that was the friction which was coming in her friendship, and it was causing a lot of chaos to her. So this is just a small example how a small belief system can create a mess up of things.
Yes. So, at this point, I will condense this discussion. So, the topic we picked up was the limiting self-beliefs that we have, and what are the possible techniques to overcome those beliefs in order to achieve our potential. here we specifically talk about limiting self-beliefs because everyone is born with their unique potential. When we, because of the environment or because of our own understanding of experiences, we create certain thoughts and emotions within our bodies. So that limits us from achieving that potential. So is it safe to say that a therapist is a facilitator to connecting or reconnecting the person back to their original self, helping to either replace or not either replace and recreate the belief system, which is as per their innate, and also that it is within every individual that they can come out of their limiting self beliefs with some assistance. So is this a good condensation of this discussion?
Absolutely.
So, with this we will conclude this session, and we hope that all of who are watching us found something useful. And if you would like to reach out, do reach out. All the details will be in the description. And while we were talking, I got the idea for the next session that we could be doing next month is to talk about self-love, which has come up in all of our therapy systems. It's about loving our own self. So probably we can talk about what is self-love and what are the different techniques available to us. Because healing or therapy, everything begins with the individual,
Self.
with the self. The therapist, the coach, the healers are all just facilitators. So thank you, all of you, Jyoti, Vartika, Vani, Suruchi. Wonderful insights. And I think this has showcased Transformative Life Services Group perfectly. We offer every type of modality tailored to your innate, as per your innate, which we decode from your fingerprints. So this has been a wonderful first episode of TLS Expert Talk. Thank you, Vartika. Thank you, Jyoti,
Thank
Vani, and
you.
Suruchi once again. And thank you to everybody who joined us for